This is a Rhogenesis Source Reading. Public domain ancient and sacred texts read chapter by chapter as source material for later motif mapping and interpretation. Today's reading is from the Bhagavad Gita, Edwin Arnold, 1885, Chapter 16. Of the separateness of the divine and the undivine. Krishna, fearlessness, singleness of soul, the well. Always to strive for wisdom, opened hand, and governed appetites, and piety, and love of lonely study, humbleness, uprightness, heed to injure naught, which lives, truthfulness, slowness unto wrath, a mind that lightly letteth go what others prize, and equanimity and charity, which speeth no man's faults, and tenderness towards all that suffer, a contented heart, fluttered by no desires, a bearing mild, modest and grave, with manhood nobly mixed, with patience, fortitude, and purity, an unrevengeful spirit, never given to rate itself too high. Such be the signs, O Indian prince, of him whose feet are set on that fair path which leads to heavenly birth. Deceitfulness and arrogance and pride, quickness to anger, harsh and evil speech, and ignorance to its own darkness blind. These be the signs, my prince, of him whose birth is fated for the regions of the vile. The heavenly birth brings to deliverance. So shouldst thou know, the birth with assurance brings into bondage. Be thou joyous, prince, whose lot is set apart for heavenly birth. 2 stamps there are marked on all living men, divine and undivine. I spake to thee. By what marks thou shouldst know the heavenly man? Hear from me now of the unheavenly. They comprehend not the unheavenly, how souls go forth from me, nor how they come back unto me, nor is there truth in these, nor purity, nor rule of life. This world hath not a law, nor order, nor a lord, so say they, nor hath risen up by cause, following on cause, imperfect purposing, but is none other than a house of lust. And this thing thinking, all those ruined ones once, of little wit, dark-minded, give themselves to evil deeds, the curses of their kind, surrendered to desires insatiable, full of deceitfulness, folly, and pride. In blindness, cleaving to their errors, caught into the sinful course, they trust this lie, as it were true, this lie which leads to death, finding in pleasure all the good which is, and crying, here it finisheth, ensnared in nooses of 100 idle hopes. Slaves to their passion and their wrath, they buy wealth with base deeds to glut hot appetites. Thus much today, they say, we gained thereby. Such and such wish of heart shall have its fill. And this is ours, and therefore shall be ours. Today we slew a foe, and we will slay our other enemy tomorrow. Look, are we not lords? Make we not goodly cheer? Is not our fortune famous, brave, and great? Rich are we, proudly born. What other men live like to us? Kill then for sacrifice. Cast largesse and be merry. So they speak. Darkened by ignorance, and so they fall. Tossed to and fro with projects, tricked and bound. In net of black delusion, lost in lusts. Down to foul Naraka, conceited, fond, stubborn and proud, dead drunken with the wine of wealth and reckless, all their offerings have but a show of reverence, being not made. Impiety of ancient faith, thus vowed. To selfhood, force, insolence, feasting, wrath. These my blasphemers, in the forms they wear, and in the forms they breed, my foemen are. Hateful and hating, cruel, evil, vile. Lowest and least of men, whom I cast down. Again, and yet again, at end of lives, into some devilish womb, whence, birth by birth, the devilish wombs respawn them, all beguiled, until they find and worship me, sweet prince. Tread they that nether road. The doors of hell are threefold, whereby men to ruin pass. The door of lust, the door of wrath, the door of avarice. Let a man shun those three. He who shall turn aside from entering all those three gates of Narak wendeth straight to find his peace, and comes to Swarga's gate. Here endeth chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled Divasara Sopad Vibhagayog Yog, or the Book of the Separateness of the Divine and Undivine. This reading now enters the Rhogenesis Source Archive. Later, we will return to it to trace its motifs, symbols, and recurring questions across other traditions. For now, the source has spoken. The source returns first. Meaning follows. Thank you for listening. If something in this reading stayed with you, a motif, a symbol, or a question, feel free to share it in the comments. And if this reading resonated, leaving a like helps signal what is worth continuing to explore. If you're interested in public domain ancient and sacred texts, you can subscribe to follow future readings, released chapter by chapter.